and Alexstrasza version for Silhan. Unfortunately, for this game, we had corrupted video files from Karlis, so we only have Silhan's point of view, but it should be fine because we have a very interesting version of a handlock.
We saw Justin Harrison. This is already show. I don't care about Alexstrasza.
Well, Harrison and Alex. I mean, Alex is, I want to call it the older version of a handlock, but Harrison is especially against those rogues and also really strong against control warriors. Yeah, and even shamans with Windfury. Doomhammer, sorry.
The main problem is with the Doomhammer, like as a handlock, you already have your 8 cards. And yeah, you could kill a Doomhammer, but that's like 6 cards to be drawn or 4 cards.
Well, you can still play it when it's only 4 cards.
Yeah, that would be better. But yeah, the possibility is always there. Harrison is cool. Not in this matchup, obviously.
Nope.
It will be completely... okay, he's a 5/4 minion. That's good. Starting hand for Silhan is rather crappy. He has a Mortal Coil, Soulfire, Selness. Wow, and Defender of Argus. More or less, he can life tap, and he needs to bag for Twilight Drake or Mountain Giant.
Yeah, he needs to draw into Mountain Giant or Twilight Drake, as you already said. It's getting worse and worse. Another Soulfire, Hellfire, not exactly what you want to have, especially against the Druid. Because, yeah, what is Hellfire going to clear? More or less nothing.
The big advantage for Silhan is Karlis might have 1 big game hunter and 2 silences, but he has in total 4 giants. There was Alexstrasza, so 5 big minions, 5 8/8s. There is also 2 Twilight Drakes. Well, they could get silenced and killed, but in total, the handlock has a better matchup against the Druid. But Karlis, yeah, well, we haven't seen anything by Karlis. We have seen no White Groves by now. But for Silhan, too, it's like, what is he going to do? He turn 4, nothing. Turn 5, there will be the Harrison at the moment. That's the first play he can actually do.
Well, the problem is, starting from turn 4, I see a Karlis throwing out Yetis, Azure Drakes, maybe even a Cairn. Druid of the Claw, it's gonna get nasty.
Yeah, since, well, he can kill him with his Soulfire, but he will just lose his hand cards.
Well, he has to play Selness, Soulfire to clear Yeti, and also, well, that's it.
Yeah, but Selness Soulfire is rather cool, so you can deal 5 damage. You could kill Selness Soulfire Mortal Coil. You could kill a Druid of the Claw taunted up. But they won't get taunted up. Most likely they're just going to rush into your face. If they get taunted up, you have something. There's a White Growth for Karlis, so he had it. He drew it, actually. That was his last card in hand.
I think he was considering whether to play it or rather play Yeti. That's why it took him so long. He decided to go for the Wild Growth just to get a better curve, which makes sense in my opinion.
I would drop the Sunfear Protector too. You don't have any. You really don't have anything. Life tap, get a card, but that's a big game hunter. So nothing. You at least have a 2/3 minion out. If he charges in with something, you can trade, whatever, but you get a 2/3 minion out. You get like really something on the board. And that's always better than literally nothing. Turn 5 or turn 4 for Karlis with 5 mana. Druid of the Claw. Did he just squelch? That he did.
I think he should go for Azure Drake in this case. Well, no, like we don't know what he has on his hand. Playing Harvest Golem is slow if you don't use Vress. If you would have used Vress on the Sunfury Protector, okay. That way he just uses hero ability, wants him to trade. That's also fine.
A good minion actually, the Ancient Watcher. He can silence it, and he can taunt it up with his Defender of Argus. So that's okay. He could silence there too. Attack and Mortal Coil. And the good thing with the Ancient Watcher is he can always taunt it up. He doesn't need to silence it.
Yeah.
And he needs a card draw. There's finally a giant. He can just play the Ancient Watcher still, and next turn have the giant out, or life tap, but then he had too many cards. So that wasn't an option.
He couldn't life tap. It was the only play was play Watcher or don't. He decided to play it. Makes sense.
Or he can taunt it up together with the giant next turn, or he just taunts it up and leaves the giant untaunted. As we know, there can be the Black Knight. He said it already a lot. The Black Knight is just, so much value. Now
that's an easy play. Drop the Mountain Giant, Selness, Soulfire the 5/5 away. And be happy if you don't lose Big Game Hunter or Molten Giant. Perfect. It's just optimal. Like the other play that would have been fine would have been Hellfire. He would have lost that. But apart, Yeah.
That was just okay.
Silhan should be happy.
He has a good hand left. Karlis had the main thing that concerns me is Karlis hasn't played anything. So either he has only answers, like he has only things to react in his hand, or he has really big and awesome minions just waiting to get played. He could draw a big game hunter.
He's gonna draw a big game hunter.
If he gets a big game hunter, and he could big game hunter and kill the Selnus.
Yeah. Top deck big game hunter, hero ability, kill Selnus. And now Silhan is in trouble because he lost his entire board.
Yeah.
He used his, what I didn't really understand, he used his owl to silence the Harvest Golem instead of just silencing his Watcher.
Okay, there is the Shadow Bolt. That's okay. And you get Alexstrasza in your hand. So one big game hunter is down. If there are no two big game hunters, you actually will get a 9/9 minion out, which will be okay.
I think I would have used Hellfire instead.
Hellfire instead.
You want to drop lower, so you can actually apply pressure with your Molten Giants. And he would have used his mana better.
I agree with you there, but he cannot drop too low. The magic 14 mark or like that.
Well, he would be down to 18 and could have played a Molten Giant next turn.
Absolutely. But he really wants
if Karlis doesn't charge or attack his face, he has no play on his hand.
And he really wants to defend off Argus up the 4/5 and not drop him down. It may be greedy. Like, as you say, you could drop lower, you could drop the Mountain Giant. If there's a second big game hunter, that would just turn out sad for you in the end.
Like, you want to have the board control. You don't even want to taunt up your big minions. Like, if he plays a defender now, there's gonna be, I promise you, there's gonna be a Black Knight with 8 or 9 cards on Karlis' hand. And then he just, gets vaporized.
Vaporized. I agree with you there. Defend of Argus twice in your hand. Well, a Shadow Flame, that's good. So he could go for the Shadow Flame, Soulfire away the other minion, but that costs too much.
Yeah.
Taunting up is always possible, but not every time an option. If he had 8 mana still, he could just, Hellfire and Shadow Flame to clear the board. And turn 9 is there. So if one of the 4 attack minions stays alive, and there's Force of Nature Roar, that's a win for Karlis already.
Yep.
He needs to kill both. And that's a sad thing. If you lose one of your giants now, there it goes, then it's just devastating. He has his Alexstrasza. That's the only good thing we can say now. Turn 9, he has an Alexstrasza.
Well, yeah, he can deal a lot of damage with it.
That's it. No follow-up.
But the problem is Alex is so slow if you're behind. Like, Alex is great when you're ahead to drop him low. Like, if you have board control, not if you're behind or ahead. But what is he going to do now?
Well, Hellfire, maybe. But then he cannot play a giant, so...
No. Like...
Yeah, Alexstrasza. So he could play a giant, but that will get even cheaper if he just waits a turn.
And that's the problem by being too high HP. That would have not happened with Hellfire. He would have had a completely different board. Would have been able to play the Molten Giants and actually apply pressure. Even if he had just, like, kept his Owl to silence his Watcher, would have been, like, turned the game around, because Karlis had no early mid game. He just started to be really strong in late game. And look at his hand. He has still, how many cards is it? 8? So Karlis is in an incredibly great spot.
Yeah, he just needs a Roar, and that's already 8 damage, plus Swipe. That's 12 damage, 19 scenarios. That's just enough to win the game here. Even 20 in total with the hero ability. So Karlis win the first game for innovation here, since both eSuba players went 2-0 sometimes against Druid. If you know the Druid, and if your warrior is mid-rangey. So as we see, there's already...
Wow, that's a great hand for Silhan.
Absolutely. There's the Krokons in, there's the Twilight Drakes in. And if Karlis is not getting the White Crows, you're already good. So he can kill a big minion, an innervated minion with a shield block, shield slam. He has card draw potential, he has weapons. In this matchup, I would still say it's 50-50, even though a lot of people say the control warrior just gets wrecked by Druid. But with a decent draw, you're always able to pull this off.
I think the draw is okay. I think the draw for Silhan is good. But I don't like I think Acolyte of Pain and 3 War Eggs are most of the time useless against the Druid. Because most of the Druid's cards have 4 HP or more.
As we know, there are Harvest Golems, so for at least 2 minions you can kill. You can kill the Keeper of the Grove with 3 Heroics and your Acolyte of Pain. So that's like some early stuff you can deal with. If there's a Yeti, for example, as you say, that's useless. You're not going to get it killed. You really need 3 Heroics plus Slam, for example, to kill something. The good thing is you get 1 Acolyte of Pain out. He makes a turn 3 play, maybe nothing, or he drops the Harvest Golem, and like now, he cannot drop a Harvest Golem, you're gonna wreck it. If he drops a Keeper Druid of the Claw, or like an Azure Drake, well, you can kill it now. With weapon, with your Acolyte of Pain. And he gets double shield slam, so he can deal with everything.
It's really strong against the Yetis that are upcoming.
Well, not only the Yetis, you can, like, one Iron Beak Owl. That's not 100% surprising. We see more and more Karens. Karens in some decks, even in the like handlocks sometimes. More and more in the Druid again.
Yeah.
And you really want to have your Innervate Karen or something, and you want to have your Iron Beak Owl. Like 1 Iron Beak Owl, even for the Ancient of War, Iron Beak Owl. If there's a Savannah's, Iron Beak Owl. So there are some good minions to Iron Beak actually.
Definitely, Science is always very valuable. I think Silhan's hand is quite good, but the problem is he can clear the board, but never put minions out. Like, the first threat comes turn 8.
At the moment with his hand, that's correct. We know we saw 1 Krokon, so there are 2 Krokons in. At least 1 is Woodrake. He has some mid-rangey stuff, but I agree with you. He's most likely not playing Karen. He might play Savannahs, but that's not for sure. We could see Geddon, we could see Ragnaros, Grimash, and Alexstrasza, so the standard stuff. Maybe in Isera, but that's unlikely too. And that's the biggest problem. As you say, he can react, he can clear everything from the board, he can armor up, he can go strong.
The problem with cards like Malagos, Isera, like all the Drakes basically is, they cost most of the time 9 mana, you throw them down and lose a turn. Like if you're not ahead, they are more or less useless. You cannot play an Isera if you're behind. You're gonna lose next turn. Same
Absolutely.
for Alexstrasza. So that's always the risk of playing them. If you can pull it off, if you're ahead, it just like, yeah, finishes the deal.
And something like Isera is cool if you get Isera Awakens, but sometimes that is even too late. If you play against Zulog, for example, and you survive until turn 9, then the last thing you want to play is an Isera turn 9. And then you rather go for an Alexstrasza and heal yourself up. You have some instant impact. And he actually plays 2 silences, so we see Iron Beak Owl plus the Spellbreaker. And
That's surprising.
the Spellbreaker is surprising for you, for me too.
Well, double silence is surprising as well.
I think 1 is cool to play. Even the Spellbreaker over the Iron Beak Owl, since it's a 4-drop with 4/3, that's quite good. Yeah, but as you say, that's surprising. Good for Silhan now. He can play Acolyte of Pain, Whirlwind, and kill the Keeper with a weapon, and draw a card.
Yeah, you know what surprises me? That barely any control warrior runs a Mad Bomber.
Well, Mad Bomber is not reliable enough, even though he can turn out really good, especially against the Zulog, for example.
If you have an Acolyte of Pain, it's just incredibly valuable. Or Armor Smith.
If
doesn't
you actually
matter.
hit your own minion, that's always the biggest problem.
Well, if you play it, either you hit the enemy minion, just deal 3 damage, or just deal 3 damage, or you draw cards, which is both fine. Like, you can, I think Control Warrior is the deck where you can use it the best.
The main problem with the Mad Bomber or more early stuff in the Control Warrior, you would need to build it more mid-rangey. So drop the Alexstrasza, put 2 Arcanite Reapers, and then you have to build it completely mid-rangey. Since, yeah, you get a Mad Bomber out, you can bring your enemy down to 20, maybe early with some early game damage with a Mad Bomber 2, or card draw, or armor up. But then you get turn 9 Alexstrasza, and that's it. So, yeah, she's not going to get so much value anymore since you brought him already down.
Oh, nice. Gets a slam.
So
That's
enough
valuable.
to kill the 5/5.
Yeah, and armor up and turn.
That's pretty good. And he keeps the shield slam. You don't want to drop too many shield slams, and he gets maximum value out of the Acolyte of Pain. That's 3 cards to draw from your Acolyte of Pain. And, well, good follow-up. I mean, there's Alexstrasza, there's Grimash, there's Ragnaros, Big Game Hunter, 2-time Silence, Brawl, Shield. There's like, the whole hand is so useful. And even more card draw with the Azure Drake.
Brawl is more or less dead. like that card.
Well, if there is, for example, scenarios turn 9, then you're more than happy to just brawl. Or in this, even in this situation, you could just brawl and shield them the surviving, or just crook on. Okay, not crook on, you have to wait a turn. Now he can just crook on, clear. Did we see a Ragnaros from Karlis? There was maybe the suggestion of just dropping your big game hunter, but that's always extremely risky.
Can't. Well.
He could, but if there's
you
one...
can actually, against the druid, you can actually drop the big game hunter because the only minion he runs, the majority of the time, is just...
Yeah, scenarios or the Ancient of Lores. And for the big game hunter value, you need Taskmaster.
You need Taskmaster, or I was about to say, some druids run Ragnaros.
Yeah, but that's like sometimes, but for sometimes... Well,
like the big game hunter is not in there to counter druids. It's definitely against the warlocks.
Yeah, warlocks. They're even for handlock, not handlock. I mean for Miracle Rogue. Yeah, for the Van Cleave, for the auctioneer, like for the buffed up auctioneer with Cold Blood, there you can get some value. Okay, what is Karlis going to do? He wants to kill the 4/1. You don't want to leave it on the board, but he has 9 mana too. So if he kills it only 7, he cannot play Ragnaros. He cannot play Scenarios.
I really would like to take a peek at his cards. I think it's good, like Karlis in general, the later the game is, you want to drop low, you know, because Alex gets so much value right now. If you place her, that's just 15 damage, boom.
Yeah.
So you want to face tank some damage.
Is he going to swipe the face? Yeah. Kill armor. The good thing is both shield slams are gone, so losing armor is not so hard. And now we're going to see 15 damage from Alexstrasza. So that was maximum value you can get out of this minion.
I call Faceless Big Game Hunter hero ability, and he just lost the game. He didn't lose the game.
But as you say, if you go Faceless Big Game Hunter, then you're extremely screwed. There are like 3 minions on the board. Well, now we have actually the brawl value. And the thing you need to do is actually either you brawl or you need to kill all 3 minions. If there's a Force of Nature and Roar next turn and 2 minions stay alive,
you won't get a better brawl than this. And even if he wants Alex to survive, that's actually funny because then he can big game hunter. But if Alex doesn't survive, like if the Yeti survives, what are you gonna do? Like he has to play. Okay, he has Harrison, which is okay. Silence is.
Oh, he wants to increase.
Oh, that is. I think that's like the Yeti survived, right?
Yeah. The main problem I have with this play is you could armor up, but you could have played Azure Drake, draw a card. You could have played Harrison, put him on the board. Like
he had to play Harrison. He had to brawl, see what's happening, and if it's the Yeti, go Harrison. If it's Alex, play big game hunter and armor up.
And now you want to have your second brawl, which no one runs really. So yeah, 5/8. As I said, if a scenario appears, you want to brawl and hope a tree survives normally. He used the brawl for the last 3 minions, which was, in my opinion, necessary. He was down to 22. There was 8 damage on the board.
I think
he can get in.
Damage. Yeah.
That kills the most amount of minions.
Force of Nature Raw kills him. Force of Nature Raw kills him regardless.
Yeah, killed him last turn, killed him now. So he's just fighting to keep the board clear.
Well, he can't.
Yeah, losing his Alexstrasza was the key. But what else could he do? That was maximum value of Alex and faces big game hunter. Well, that sucks. And then the brawl was okay. Could have been better.
No, the brawl basically.
He should have gone for
Harrison. The brawl
Harrison.
lost him control over the game.
Yep.
Let's be honest here. Like if he had just waited for the Yeti, played his Harrison, next turn scenarios wouldn't have mattered. You had the silence, get a 4/3 out, then get your Corkron, you get the taunts away, kill the Yeti, and you would have been fine. Like sort of fine. Of course, there's still you would have died anyways.
He would have died anyways. Force of Nature Raw with scenarios, and as we see, you couldn't have killed scenarios, so you would die in total. But he could have played it different. I agree with you. That's a 2-0 from Karlis again.